There we go. Also, any doubts regarding the last class, just let me know. Hit the road jack also, we'll come back to. Yeah, just try this on the minor, write it down first and then play. I'll just connect the internet cable and come back in a few seconds. Hang on.
I'm getting confused with the flat 7 and natural 7.
Flat 7 and natural 7th. Yeah,
Yeah.
what is the confusion now, Uma? Flat
Uh,
7 means you take the 7th and move it down a step.
okay.
While the natural 7th is the major scale 7th only.
Okay. Okay.
Also called as a major 7th. We just call it a major 7th.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Why do we write natural though? We write it as natural in order to differentiate it from the major scale.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
main reason.
Okay. Makes sense.
Right. Write it and let's start playing the thing.
Sir, can I show once again, sir, so that I could write it?
Yeah, yeah. We've discussed in the theory class, right?
Yes, sir, sir.
Okay, can one of you tell me harmonic minor and one of you can tell me natural minor? C harmonic and C natural, no?
Yeah. It's C D E flat
Huh.
F
C, D, E flat, F.
G A flat B flat.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other one?
It's the same thing, but with B. C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B.
Yes. Yeah. So now you have to do the same, pretty much the same exercise. And the other one? So that was the two versions, the harmonic version and the natural minor version. So just do it for a few seconds, then I'll show you.
Sir, can you just play harmonic version once again and show, sir?
See, the whole idea is the harmonic version is the exact same major version with a flattened third and a flattened sixth. So, which is the flattened third and which is the flattened sixth in the key of C major now? You tell me.
So, this one, sir. Should be like.
Which one now?
Sir,
So hang on. So I'm on C. See, this is the key, right? Now the exercise we have to do is sa re ga ma pa ma ga re sa ga pa sa. Sa ni da pa ma pa dha ni sa pa ga sa. So how do we do this on the harmonic? Same thing, your hand has to expand at line 2. If I'm not mistaken, we've also tried to do a few jobs with the right hand, left hand, all these combos you could try, no? So then pulse. Harmonic minor, sorry, natural minor has a 7 flat. So you go. Yeah, start. Hear it, Atul? Nice. just bring in the left hand and try the permutations. Bring it, Tuma. We'll hear it. Yeah, the pulse is sounding very good. I think a couple more days and it'll come. So that consistent pulse is very important. Keep going. Yeah, if you practice, I think one more week and it'll be sorted. Seshu? Right. I've Oh, hang on. That's the wrong one. Which one do I unmute now? Oh, that one. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but what you need to do is do the exercise. That one you have to do, no? Then harmonic. So with these exercises, the hand will come together and it will stretch out. Both these things seem to happen. Right. Tejeshwar, getting it? Sounding good. Yeah, keep repeating it a few times. It's also advisable to play it a bit slowly. If you play it at this speed, the moment you make a mistake, you'll have to restart and all that. So try to play it a bit slower. Maybe at this speed will be nice. See? Yeah. Okay, so let's just take this to a couple more levels. One is now we've been able to do this on the natural and harmonic. Hopefully, with more theory usage, we can do this exercise on a few other things. So, being a piano class, we can not only play piano stuff, we can also be taking things which we had learned from the theory class, where we did the major and the minor scale. So the first thing you can do is transpose this exercise on a few other keys. Before that, let's just do it on one key. And the way I like to grow scales will be maybe the scale which has one sharp and the scale which has one flat. Which scale has one sharp and which scale has one flat now? One sharp, if you observe, is our G major, and one flat is our F major. So good practice would be to just write down the scale so you know what all the intervals are. F, so now you need to play the same exercise. You need to be playing the same drill on these two scales. And of course, to make it into a G minor, what we are going to do is, B will be changed, A will be changed here, E will be changed, D will be changed. How? So we are going to do two things now for a few moments. We'll play it on a couple of other scales, pretty much the same exercise, and we'll try and explore a few new things which the left hand can do. Right now the left hand was just copying the right hand or just holding something, rather boring. So let's see what the left hand can grow towards. Okay, so if you take on G, just going to write it as left hand patterns. We'll do more once we do in the theory class. The first left hand pattern you could do is root plus octave together, and you could explore the scale. Root plus octave together, and you could explore the scale. So if you do something like this, by the way, the whole exercise is now, well, the scale has changed, but the tune is still the same, isn't it? Same thing. So the first left hand addition would be play your G as the pulse, and keep changing it. So the only note which sounds a bit funny to my ear is the knee. That seventh note is a bit funny. But then all the other notes seem to work, doesn't it? C, D, E, A. That's a bit annoying. So barring the F sharp, you can pretty much play every note. But the trick is not to change it too often. If you change it too often, it'll also be very tough to play, number one. You won't even be able to play like that. So you might as well just shift it maybe every 4 beats. Da 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 na na na, change something. Da na 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 na, back, like that. You can work on that sort of a thing. Okay, try it. Come on. So the exercise is now moved to G major. Start. So while the root and the octave are playing together, make sure it's playing the pulse. So that's pulse 2, like this. Again, Tejeshwar's height is very poor. Keyboard height. Yeah. Yeah, that seems to work. Yeah. Hear it, Atul? Yeah, sounds good. And then you have to try to drive the left hand to play other notes of the scale. Pretty much all of them work except for that 7th note. So explore that. Try, Uma.
Fingering
Yeah.
and yeah.
Don't change it so often, I guess. Just change it maybe a bit more rarely.
Okay.
Sheshu? I got it.
Yeah.
There's a problem with the see the exercise. Slow. So every line 1 and line 3 are fast. That line 2 and line 4 are slow. Yeah. Not bad. Tejeshwar, play. Yes. So that's how you explore. You'll have to keep changing the notes depending on the sound you want. Okay, could we try this same exploration for the key of F major? Same story. So you go. Just remember there's a B flat here, which is the third triplet. So you go. See, when I go down, the thumb will bend a little bit. That's important. If you don't bend it, your hand will point in another angle. If you point it out, your hand is forced to point straight. F. Okay, same story with the left. So as you keep changing the left hand, a lot more interesting sounds start happening, because you're changing the root or the tonic or the sa. Actually, you're changing it. So in a way, you're actually playing chords. This is what chords do. The only difference being you're not playing an actual chord with a, But if you think about it, if you can play a single note, why can't you replace this with a chord? It's the same rhythm. It's just more notes which you have to decide. You'll have to say which note should I play now. So try it. Yeah. Let's do this on F. So a couple of quick tips to play the black notes. Maybe play it there, not too much deep. Play it around here. Then bend your thumb when you want to play the B flat. If you're playing the black notes with your thumb, then go inside and play it. Go inside and curve your thumb. If you're playing the black notes with some other finger, then play it somewhere at the edge. You don't want to play it too much at the middle. Play it at the edge. Especially when playing melodies, well, anything on the piano for that matter. Hear it, Uma? Sounds good. Nice. Do it a couple more times and focus a bit more on the shifting part. Yeah, Seshu, we'll hear it.
Yeah.
Nice, sounds good. So apart from the chord, you can just hold single notes and then move the notes around. That'll also be an interesting skill. Keep moving the left hand. Atul.
Sorry.
Nice. Nice, you're getting there. Just keep a bank of 3 or 4 notes. Like, just don't do too many notes apart from those 3 or 4. Maybe, I don't know, sa, da, ma, and pa. Just 4 notes. And just keep working with those 4. Otherwise, you will think there's so many things to do in the left hand. But just limit it to 3 or 4 possibilities. That may help. And the other thing which may help is you need to get the melody as stable as possible. That's also important. Tejeshwar, getting it? Nice. Try to not stop too much and keep looping it a couple more times. Right.
Other than the thumb, do we have options to, while coming back?
To play the B flat, is that
Yes.
what you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can play the B flat with other fingers as well. It's just that see, you can do. See, but then it gets a bit messy when you see. The question with fingering is always, what are you going to do next? What is the next part which you're going to do? Fingering is never about the present, because if it is about the present, you'll always have 2 to 3 ways of doing anything. So it's not about what you do at the moment, it's what you're going to do after that. So if you do, let's say, without the thumb, well, I have to bring the thumb here at least, and then I cross. What do I cross? This one. Now what do I do? I've run out of fingers. I don't have any more fingers because I had to start here. Or maybe I'll start with a pinky. But now you have a hand clutter happening. See, you have a hand clutter, so you have to save this. So usually with a hand clutter, your hand won't feel as strong as what it used to feel. So there's a lot of ways to argue. So there are many positions, but try to choose the position which is most flexible and which is most thinking of the future. What is the next thing? The next thing you have to do is sa, pa, ga, sa. So whatever fingering you choose has to cater to that also, because you have to stay in a shape to play that. But for now, having said all this in this exercise, let's just play it like this only. But in the long run, if you have some random melody, then you have to keep this in mind. Okay, let's try and do another left hand pattern. So this is root octave pulse. We can also do root plus octave a toggle. What we mean by toggle is you just play it one by one. G. Try on both G and F. And what I really like about the toggling effect is you can give the sound a lot more character. You can play, see, long short or short long, but I prefer long short for some reason. Okay, toggle, agreed? And you can float this around. these notes. But we are trying to stay within the scale as much as possible. Try to stay within the G domain. If you change that, then you enter into a very adventurous territory. Okay, can we do the same exercise? Just revise little bit on F with the toggling pulse. I'm going to call this a toggle. So you have to change it around. But then what notes you play depends on what you only want. You have to also choose it. So usually I will start with a G, because G feels as a very central kind of a chord. Okay. Another nice thing we can do is we can rate our notes like in a scale. Again, I'll talk more on this in the theory class. You have the, I'm just going to write it as tonic or stable. So usually tonic or stable chords will be the sa and the dha. Okay. And then you have unstable chords or tensions or unstable notes. And by the way, these also become chords very soon. So this will end up being the 2, the 4, oh sorry, the 5, maybe the 3, or actually sorry, 5 and 7. This is more common though. 5 is more preferred, 7 rarely. And then you will also have passing notes. Passing notes could be considered as the 2 and the 4. Or if you want, even the 3. So you could look at it like this. We'll spend more time in the theory class doing it. So a passing note basically needs to connect back to a landing note or a stable note. A tension note again could come back, like a 5 again likes to come back to 1 or the 6. So you can ideally these become the main stable things, the tonic notes. So ideally you'd want to start on either a tonic or end on the tonic. All the other things tend to want to go to the tonic or linger. The song will linger with that. So let's see. See? See, usually you'll always have a 5 going to 1 at the end. So when you want to create a cycle, see, now I'm on a pass. Sounds like a pass. Still a pass. Fully unstable, and now it resolves. So you need to look at the notes that way. Don't play them too randomly. Start random, then you can make a few more clever decisions. So whenever I write 1, I mean the 1 of the scale. Whenever I write 6, I mean the 6 of the scale. 5 of G is D. 1 of G is G. And so on.
Jason, a question. In the last theory class, you told the stable and unstable notes for melody. Is that different from the stable and unstable notes for tones or chords?
Not really. It's pretty much the same.
Okay, well,
oh, but yeah. Sorry. That stable and unstable, I've written as 1, 3 and 5. That is, you're right. Yeah, that is for melody.
Okay.
For melody and the right hand, generally the higher notes. But the left hand also has its own way of deciding emotions. So the left hand and the right hand emotions are slightly different. Now when I explained it in the theory class, the assumption was that the sa will never change. But here we are changing the sa. I'm telling you to keep changing the root. So that's generally what happens with Western music. The root will keep changing. Yeah. So that requires a different explanation that we'll also look at in the next theory class. Can we just quickly do the toggling? Then we'll move to a new rhythm. So how do we toggle? change. Yeah. Then do the same thing on F. Remember, watch out for your scales. G major has an F sharp, F major has a B flat. So the left hand, for some of you, try to not play with too much of wrist move. Let me show you better. This wrist shouldn't go too bent like this. Keep it straight as much as possible. Don't raise it. Okay. So when you're playing, especially this can affect the left hand. This is how I play the left, not like this. So this shouldn't come up, because then again you get into a claw-like manner. It should never be clawed. It should be like you're holding some round thing in your hand. Also, your fingers, Uma, that can be improved on. You don't have to lift these fingers in the air. Keep them down only. This is, I don't know why it happens more in the left hand for people. Even I had this problem. So it shouldn't be in the air. It should generally be down. So right hand fingers, because we play them so often, we tend to keep them normally. The left hand, this is important. When you're playing pinky and thumb, don't lift this. If you play like this, what will happen is you will hurt your forearm and wrist. If you play without this, it looks as though you're using your fingers, but actually you use more of the stronger arm muscles. You don't know it, but it is actually happening. See? But if you lift this finger, then what's happening is it gets constrained and your finger muscles will hurt. So the strange part of the piano is when you're using the arm or the shoulder muscles, you won't feel them moving. You won't see any of the muscles moving. But it is actually working, because there are a lot of those muscles which are working. Even the tricep is a very important muscle. That also gets used. But it all gets used if you play with the correct shape.
It's all the more tougher when it toggles more than chords.
Toggles. So just relax. Another thing you can do with toggling, which you may find useful, like that. See, just like you're turning a lock, you're opening a door. you can just turn it like that. So but the only way to do that is when your fingers are not in the air like this. Keep them down. It's like how you open a door. And just do it as slow as possible. Again, in the class, I'm trying to tell you all a few new things, which is why it may appear as, we are speeding up and doing things fast. But actually, the intention is to give you a few things to practice over the week. But when you actually practice, you have to really take it slow. So even one day, if you want to just do toggling on some 2 or 3 scales, feel free. You don't have to do everything in one day. Hear it, Seshu? It's this one. Yeah, but good, getting there. Also explore the dynamics of the left hand. So some of you could also try this. Whoever's left hand is hurting a bit, you could float it, you could turn it. The other thing you can do is legato kind of gets you to relax the hand, and staccato lifts the hand. So actually when you go down, which muscles are being used? Pretty much the arm. When you go up, it's the forearm. The forearm allows you to jump up. And it sounds really good, as you can hear. It doesn't sound robotic. Work on the left hand, very important. Atul. Nice. Why don't you guys just try it off on the 2 minors as well? The neighboring minors. So that's G minor, G harmonic, then F minor and F harmonic. So what changes again in our minor? Can anyone help me out? What will change? Just give me the notes of these two. G minor, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G. Right? Harmonic, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F sharp, G. It's a natural F. Natural F sharp. So now the same equation. Harmonic. Harmonic, you will not know it is different than the normal minor only when you do the second line, because the first line of both minors are the same. It has a 3 flat, isn't it? Second line, that changes. So you see this is a 3-step jump. E flat to E, E to F, F to F sharp. So because of that it sounds very, very different. You can make some really good music just using the exercise. You don't have to change anything. You can pretty much just use the exercise and then change the left hand around a bit like this. Fine, then we go C, E flat, D, back to G. So it can be used quite well. Also play it with a little bit of dynamics. You don't have to play loud all the time. Similarly, you don't have to play soft all the time. You can vary it. I think we did talk a little bit on that in the last class. So you go relax. So check this out. It's quite cool. I'll start with a tonic G. Keep it simple and peaceful. C is also peaceful. Now back. Repeat the G. And now why did I do that? I don't know. Just when I play E flat, which is the sixth minor, it feels a bit more epic and a bit more heavier. So I just feel you should play that a bit louder. No, so there's so many options. You have volume to play with. You have staccato, legato in the left hand to play with. Well, you can even do staccato, legato in the right hand to play with, obviously, isn't it? Right, so if you have to do this for a 2-minute movie scene, you should not have a problem, right? You have a lot of options. So even if you have to keep the notes the same exact thing, you have a lot of options to just make the same notes sound humanly different using volume swells, the staccato legato toggle, using different left hand patterns, and then of course the icing on the cake, changing the left hand itself, keeping the same right hand. So someone gives you a challenge, make me a 5-minute composition or a 5-minute movie score, and this is the scene happening, and if you see there's a lot of lot of emotions going on, you need minor, and then you keep changing it around depending on the visuals, whatever you see. Now if you're doing this for a 5-minute movie scene, you can do this with anything for that matter. Okay, let's just try this a couple more times and then we'll come back to Hit the Road Jack, just see where we stand with that as well. Try. So G minor and F minor. So G minor ends up being F minor ends up being. Try it out on your F as well. Start. The minor always gives you a lot more things to think of, right? Gives you, like, you can create a melancholic feel, you can create a very brave sound, you can create something like very uplifting as well, because it starts sad, but then there are so many happy things as well to go with that particular scale. So that's why, as a beginner or a newcomer on the piano, you guys need to explore everything, right? You need to see everything, and that's a very important thing, even with any field. Like if you're getting into theater, if you're getting into dancing, if you're getting into acting, sports, whatever it may be, you need to see what it's all about. You need to appreciate great theater or great dancing in order to even become a beginner level dancer. Like, why do you even do these things? Because you know how great music can be. You have already seen other people playing these instruments really well, so you want to be like them, right? So when you start playing, you shouldn't play something which the pros are not playing. So the pros play minor very, very often. That's an important fact. Like most of your, like, you take Adele's Skyfall, that's what makes it sound good. It's because it's the minor, right? It's this is the end, right? If you enjoy listening to a lot of Ilaiyaraaja's music, you will find that almost everything is on the harmonic minor. He really loves the minor, then he'll keep playing with the minor. I wouldn't know what to call those scales, but I know that he keeps changing it. Like a lot of the Indian composers will take the G, the third note, and they'll actually play around with it. Sometimes it will be major third, and the other time it will be minor. So you need to be aware of that. Whether you are the beginner on the piano or not, how does it matter? You know that G, this is the major third, that's the minor third. So you slowly but surely have to remember these things, sort of like rules of a sport. Like if you play badminton, you know the singles rules are different than the doubles rules, right? The lines are set, everything is there. You just have to, someone will tell you, and you have to play it correctly. Only then will you enjoy the sport also. Otherwise, you will just want to whack the shuttle for no reason, right? You should know that there is a net. You should not hit the net. You lose a point. All of these things have to be practiced. So develop your study of the piano by playing incredible music. Don't develop your study ever by playing simple music. There is no music which is ever going to be called simple in a class like this. The aim is to play what anyone play, but play it within a certain skill set, within a few limitations. And those limitations are just because you are new to the instrument. So what? That's not a big problem. So, but don't hold out on the music. Play major scale, minor scale. Very soon we are going to do the blues scale, the pentatonic scales. A lot of scales we'll be doing, right? So just a couple more minutes. We can try it out. I'd like to hear the minor with toggle, and maybe I'll give you guys one more rhythm to try out. So root plus octave toggle is there, right? Another rhythm, I don't know what really to call it, but I'll just call it by the name of the song. I think that's more applicable. So this is the We Will Rock You rhythm. Yeah, I'll show you the We Will Rock You rhythm, but it's actually this. It's a simple notation. Quarter, quarter, half. Tup, tup, ta. Tup, tup, ta. We will, dup, dup, ta. Dup, dup, ta. Traditionally played with the kick drum and the snare drum, but you guys are going to do root, root, octave. Double root. But actually on a drum, he does kick, kick and snare. So this is the we will. So we've done pulse, which is rather easy. You do it together. Toggling. I would also call this the toggling pulse. Still the pulse, but toggling. Together. Toggling. toggle. And now sounds familiar, right? Okay. Try only We Will Rock You. That's the rhythm. So now right, so the left hand is changing all over the place, driving around, also playing We Will Rock You. The right hand is playing a beautiful scale, harmonic minor, and to ice the cake, you're trying to play with different dynamics, loud, soft, staccato, legato. So all these things need to be made a note of. We'll probably conclude the class by writing all these things, all the permutations which you can do. And then you have to organically try this over the week as you practice. Let's just try harmonic with We Will Rock You, see if it's coming. So that's again, you'll have to go. Now can you do the major scale one also with We Will Rock You? Obviously it's the same thing. Rhythm will never change if the scale changes. Minor. Right? Remember to use all your 5 fingers. Try it on G minor and F minor, both. G minor, F minor. F minor has a lot of flats or black notes, doesn't it? So you have 2 black notes here, 2 black notes there. And there's a quick trick which I have for you guys while playing sharp scales and flat scales. We did not mention this in the piano class because in the theory class, it doesn't matter there. Those other guys are not learning the keyboard. So what you need to know, that sharps replace or defeat or kill white notes before them. You just remember that sharps defeat white notes before them. What does this mean? What does this statement mean? Let's take G major. G major has F sharp, right? F sharp kills F. So in the G major scale, you will never have an F. That's why this naming syntax is very important. One might argue that they made music theory after the piano was invented. First piano came, then the rules and regulations and the naming and the syntax would have come. It's possible, if you ask me, because the syntax is like that. Okay, so what do flats do? The exact opposite of sharps. Flats replace or kill white notes after them. After on the piano means right side, up one step. So how do we look at this as an example? You have the F major scale now, no, which has B flat. B flat, what does it kill? The one after that, which is B. Okay. Another important point to note is both sharps and flats defeat their namesake natural notes, and natural has this symbol. What you know what this statement means, I hope. So both flats and sharps defeat their namesake natural notes. What do I mean by this? Sorry, it may not be clear for you to read. One more. Yeah. So with if F sharp is always killing its namesake F, that means there will not be an F when there is an F sharp. So you'll only have one representation for F. Similarly, you'll have only one representation for B. You could have a B sharp, you could have a B flat, or you could have a B natural. B natural is also just called as B. So you can, in one scale, you cannot have two representations. You can't have an A sharp, you can't have an A flat. Similarly, you can't have an A flat and an A. Similarly, you can't have an A and an A sharp. You can have only one of those three, right? So you have A, you have A sharp, you have A flat. Now among this set of three, only one is allowed. In a 7-note scale. This is the writing syntax. You may argue why all this fancy stuff. Well, it will help in the long run. It will help when you communicate this information to others and everyone's on the same page. But of course, we've been trying to achieve that for centuries. It will never happen. There will always be people who don't care about this stuff, and that's fine. There's no harm in that. Like for example, a lot of guitarists will call G flat always as F sharp because of the fretboard. They want to keep going up. They don't like going down. But the moment you tell a guitarist, see, if you remember it as G flat because you're going down from the G, then they respect it a bit more and they're like, oh yeah, if I remember it this way, it's a bigger challenge for me. So the same thing with the piano. We have to remember it with two names. Very important to use both names and use it accordingly. So now hopefully you've remembered that F major has a B flat. The 4th note is B flat. G major has an F sharp. The 7th note is F sharp. And that's it. That's the syntax. It doesn't change. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Now if you take D major, which has two sharps, it's the same thing. F sharp will kill F and C sharp will kill C. And if you take B flat major will kill obviously B, and E flat major will obviously kill E. E flat will kill E. So it's always the namesake. They defeat their namesake naturals. So if you ever were to have a B in a scale, then you can never have a B flat. That's the idea. Okay, so I hope this exercise is clear. We've grown it now further. Let's now, I just want to revise how well you people have done this hit the road jack. I told you a lot of things, right? With singing, staccato, legato, arpeggio, toggles, and chord blocks and arpeggios. Let me just demonstrate till where we've come. don't you come back no more. Ba-boom, ba-boom, boom. Hit up, arpeggio. Chords. Let's try this out. Tejeshwar, will you hear it? Hit the road, Jack.
So I'm practicing, sir. It's not coming properly.
Okay. I'll hear it at some point. Come on. Next, Seshu, how far have we gone? This slipping may start affecting you, Seshu. Right now you're slipping. So what I mean by slipping is you're doing like it's like falling. Yeah, so keep a conscious effort to move your head while you play. And also singing is crucial. So far I've not heard or seen anyone singing. Maybe that's the reason why this timing is a malfunction. So hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more. Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more. So keep it slow and be able to recycle it. The moment you stop, like if you play like this, for example, see, you're going to make a mistake after 2 or 3 attempts, right? Or maybe even 4 or 5 attempts, or maybe even after 10 attempts. But if you think about it, how much duration is 10 attempts? Barely 15-20 seconds, right? How long is a song? A song is very long. Song, you have to hold this for a good 2.5-3 minutes minimum. You'll have to hold. Then you'll have to toggle, like the blocking and the arpeggio thing. You have to toggle that. So that consistency needs to happen. So always move your head and sing. Like some other physical things have to happen, some other body activity, singing, all that will put the music into perspective, especially because you're a beginner. See, it's the same idea. If you play a game of badminton and you don't know the rules and you just go and play, right, you're not even going to be sad that you lost, obviously, because you don't know the rules. Your opponent will keep beating you. you'll miss everything, and then at the end of the game that guy will tell you, I beat you 21-5 or 21-2. You won't even care. You need to also feel like when you are losing, it's not a good feeling. So in order to feel that, you have to play a bit more. Uma, how's it going? Get it? I see.
I'm
Yeah.
not getting the split though.
Getting which one?
Toggle.
The arpeggio thing.
Yeah, arpeggio.
Yeah, it'll come, I guess. But at least good. I can hear someone at least trying to sing, which is good. But then you're busy staring at only one hand. That needs to be improved on.
Yes.
You have to. The main thing is, if you watch the Ray Charles video, how much he's enjoying himself while he's playing. So that's also a function of confidence. He'll move his head like that. Everyone's dancing. Ultimately, it's a dance song. So you need to play it with a little bit more confidence. So, but it'll come with time. Atul, how's it going?
Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. Hit the road. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the
Sounds
road.
good. So everything's sounding nice. The only thing is you have to combine the two. Like the blocking and the arpeggio have to combine, and they have to lock together at the same tempo. The tempo has to be identical. So if you're locking it, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more. Now immediately arpeggios, hit the road, and don't you come back no more. Arpeggio, din tuck, din and back. And next. So try to combine it together. So you can first do combinations without singing and then try to do it with singing and see how that goes. Okay, so Hit the Road Jack is sounding fairly good. So let's conclude by just defining that exercise once more. So with the exercise, what all are we supposed to do? We have left hand patterns, then change the left hand. And remember, play the left hand with functional harmony. What I mean by functional harmony is that whole tonic, stable, unstable and all that. More on this in a theory class. We have to first learn what chords are. Then this will help. So left hand patterns, we have a couple, 3 so far. Pulse, toggle, and then of course we will rock you, which we are confidently writing like this. Staccato, legato, toggle, dynamics, meaning volume. So you go louder, go softer, go up mountain, go a V mountain, reverse mountain. You can do all these things. Go down and then go up. Of course, mountain will never actually become a mountain. It will be more like a hill. It will taper off like this. But that's a natural human taper. Like if you go all the way up to and feel a peak, you'll only get a bit shocked. How did it suddenly get so loud? So you'll only naturally do a hill. So go like this, or can go in this curve. Dynamics is also important. Then practice on different scales. What are the scales we have been discussing so far? Major, minor, and harmonic. See, harmonic is also called a minor. I'm just writing harmonic to explain it easily. So practice on different scales. And another important fact which you have to understand is we should also practice this exercise on what? What do we call those? We call them as different keys. Why? Because it's A major, B major, C major, like that. And for the time being, you could do all the 7 naturals. Like A major, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So today we've actually done on 3 of them, if you remember. So why am I limiting it only to the naturals over the week? Because it will be a lot to do. This is 7 into 3. So whenever you combine keys with scales, it's multiplication, right? 3, 7. So it's 3 sevens are. You have 21 exercises to do. Right? If it was 12, then it would be 3 12s are, and then it becomes 36 exercises. Why? Because we are trying to do major, minor, harmonic. But I'll tell you this. Now don't get scared by all this. Think of it as playing a sport. Like when you play, again coming to badminton, if you play a game like that, we all think it's about hitting the racket. Sorry, it's about hitting the shuttle, right? It looks like that. But actually, don't you think there's a lot of footwork going on? There's a lot of footwork, there's a lot of other muscles happening to actually do that. But how do you learn all of that at once? Like your coach is not going to tell you all this initially. You need to learn a few things the hard way. Like eventually, like all badminton coaches will probably tell you can cover the entire court in three steps, right? Which is true. You can cover the entire badminton court logically in 3 steps. But then if we tell each other that before we play the piano, it will be a bit too pointless, don't you think? Because right now you're focusing on this information. You're focusing primarily on this. But what will happen is the graph becomes quite cool. It becomes this is how you're going to do. You will struggle a bit, but then it really takes off at the end. So what graph am I writing? This is the graph. This is the practice curve. This is how practice works in music. So what is this? What is this? This is percent completed. This is your job, completed percentage. And what is this? As always, time. Right? So what will happen is you're going to struggle a bit. See, and this peak is not great. See, you may take about 3 days to come here, let's say. Or you may even take 4 days to come here. But it's going to take you 1 day to do so much more percent, isn't it? Like let's say you finish 20% of the job in about 4 days. And now you have 3 days left. Even with 1 day off, I can guarantee you that this 20 will become 100%. It will go all the way here. So we need to see this as keyboard players or as musicians in general. If you see this as a goal, and this is the way practice happens, what will practice never be? It will never be linear. What do I mean by that? It will never be like consistent. So this is what a lot of people tell us, and that is wrong. A lot of teachers will say be consistent, blah blah blah. I would completely disagree. I would just go, because now why does this happen? This happens because of our brain. We have a conscious brain and we have a subconscious brain. So what is happening is your subconscious brain is slowly getting prepared, and this is all going to be subconscious. What I mean by that is, after a point, you kind of know the sound of all these three scales. Your ears are sorted. Your fingers are sorted because your fingers have endlessly done this idea of stretching inward and outward. You're going in, going out. So your fingers are sorted in the right hand. And then you're able to get We Will Rock. If you get We Will Rock You on G major, why can't you get We Will Rock You on B major or on C major? Rhythm is independent of harmony, is it not? Rhythm is independent of melody also. So if you get a left hand rhythm pattern, you can get it not only with this exercise. The hope is you will get it even with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or some other random melody you play in the right hand. And for all we know, that random melody in the right hand is going to be way easier than the melody you're playing now. So actually the melody you're playing now is quite tough. So Twinkle Twinkle, which we said in the theory class, if you can do that also, try that also with a few left hand patterns, changing of the left hand, staccato, legato, dynamics, all these things. So keep this all in mind, but think of it more like a shuttle playing a game of badminton, or imagine doing athletics, right? What would a coach say to a young runner? Right? How will you say, you have to run like this, you have to wear these kinds of shoes, you have to move your leg this way, it has to bounce. I mean, why would a coach bother saying all that? Initially, the runner will just run. You just run and then you evaluate, because everyone is different, right? It's the same with every sport. Everyone will move differently. So why would it not be the same with every musician who's playing the piano? So all of you will play differently. No one is ever going to be the same. Even I am going to be different than you. You are going to be different than everyone on the earth, right? How your mind works is different. How your fingers work is different. How your body works is different. So there's no harm in just accepting that. But I've written down 6 points. Left hand patterns, change the left hand, staccato, legato, dynamics, different scales, different keys. These are obvious things which you have to do in order to go forward. Right? Now, do you have to do all 6? Do you have to do at least one? Well, I'm going to leave that to you. But remember the practice curve. It's an exponential practice curve. So if you struggle for 3-4 days, the 5th day, you're going to finish 80%. So remember that. Don't get disheartened. Oh, I'm trying this every day. That's not how practice works. So I am telling you that in conclusion, with that practice curve thing which I told you, it's from my own personal experience. And most of my musician friends who've played, we struggle at the beginning. We give up, we complain, we say it's too tough, or I don't like that song, it's too much for me. But it's very strange that if you follow the process, if you keep doing it 4-5 days, write it down, stare at it, try it, sleep, next day, do it again, it'll just happen. So this is an important thing when it comes to the piano, because the piano is not a very physical instrument, isn't it? It's more of a mental game. Sir, Seshu, we are done in another minute. Yeah. So piano is a very mental instrument. So it's almost 95% your mind. So you don't have to be relaxed. You don't have to be peaceful and all that. You just have to play with patience. Tomorrow I'll do it again. Next day I'll do it again. One day this whole thing will just be closed and done. and also have the culture of finishing a job. Like if I tell you play this on 7 scales, 8 scales, like try to finish the job. Like try to do your best and finish the job and do whatever it takes to finish the job. One thing I can guarantee you from my end is struggle for 3-4 days, fifth day it's going to come. No doubt there. Okay, because it's common sense. It's your body getting used, the hands getting used to each other, the ear getting used to the melody, and the functional harmony in the left hand is to play with purpose. The moment you are playing with purpose, you're building a story, you're telling a story. Immediately your subconscious mind is excited, it's interested to play, and then you will play more and more. So you have to sort of trick yourself. You should have fun, and you should always have an opponent who can beat you. Then only you learn, right? So right now that is the game. You don't want the opponent to be just some some random guy who's learning from basics with you. Which is why whenever you play a game, like how tennis is taught, is you don't even get to play a game, a tennis game. You're supposed to just hit the ball, and you're not allowed, and they choose who you play with after that, right? You can't play with anyone. You'll have to play with certain people in your league or certain people in your level. So the sport seems to have a nice way of training an athlete. I think music also doesn't have a way, but it is implying a way. So that's how you have to practice. The opponent is music, actually, unfortunately. So you have to make the music your opponent and try to learn through your opponent, because your opponent is always better than you, right? There's no way any of us can get better than this opponent. It's a really tricky opponent because it knows everything. So practice is hard. I'll see you guys in the next class. No theory this Saturday, so you have 1 week to get all this done.